At 3 o'clock on Friday, the 22nd of August, 1851, the black schooner America rounded the iconic Needles. She was bound for Cowes on the finish line of a race around the Isle of Wight. Queen Victoria was watching from the royal yacht, Victoria and Albert, and she asked the signalman, "If America leads, who is second?" To which the signalman famously replied, "Ma'am, there is no second."
In the summer of 2017, two machines will face off for that same prize in sailing, now called the America's Cup. It will be the 35th time the Cup has been contested, and there will still be no second place.
The first race was organised by the Royal Yacht Squadron. It was open to yachts of all nations, and 18 were entered, racing for a silver cup that was valued at that time at £100 sterling. America, at 170 feet in length, was not the largest. The fleet ranged from 48 feet to 392 feet, and they could need dozens of men to sail them at just over walking pace.
Since that first race, the America's Cup has become a challenge trophy. The challenger takes on the holder, or defender of the cup, a match of just two boats, a prize fight for the oldest trophy in world sport, and when the challenger for the 35th America's Cup meets the defender, Team Oracle USA, they will race in lightweight wing-sailed catamarans 62 feet long, capable of flying around the race on foils, top speed more than 50 miles an hour.
In 1851, the Cup was presented to the winner following that single race around the Isle of Wight. It took America 11 hours and 37 minutes to complete the course.
In the 35th match, the course will be closer to 10 miles long and will take about 25 minutes. The winner of the next America's Cup will be the first team to win 7 races.
Back then, boat speed was measured by trailing a knotted rope over the stern and timing the knots as they slid overboard, which is why we still measure sailing speed in knots.
Today, it's a little bit different. It's all about heads-up displays, pinpoint GPS satellite accuracy for speed and distance, and enough onboard technology to put a man on the moon, all carried on a wrist pack.
In the 1850s, wood and steel were the materials of choice, fashioned by craftsmen, strong but heavy, tough but flexible. America's sails were made from cotton. The British sails were flax, all stitched by hand. They were baggy and inefficient, and it could take dozens of sailors to manage the billowing clouds.
Now, in those days, they would have been lucky to match the wind speed. These days, it's all about carbon fibre and titanium, rigid and taut, and the sails are wings, beautifully crafted and capable of pushing the platforms to close to 3 times the wind speed. And the whole thing driven by just 8 athletes, some of whom could bench press Michael and me together.
Athletes, well, back in those days, these were professional seamen. They were paid for their services, which included lots of polishing of brasswork, scrubbing the decks, and at sea they were protected by oiled flax and woolen guernseys, topped off, of course, by a yachting cap. The orders went forward by word of mouth, yelled down the line from the captain to the cabin boy.
These days, it's wetsuits, life jackets, and body armour. The sailors carry oxygen tanks and knives, and communication is via headsets, wirelessly linked to the boat's central computer nervous system.
In 1851, America won this nascent contest for maritime supremacy, outclassing the rest of the field in the race to the finishing line off Cowes, of course. The black schooner won a 4-foot-high trophy called the £100 Cup. To honour that victory, it was renamed the America's Cup.
Now, of course, we don't know who's going to win the prize when they meet for the 35th time, but we're here today to meet a very, very powerful contender. A team on a mission. A team aiming to become the first British entry ever to win the oldest trophy in international sport. And this is a team led by an incredible man.
Ben came out of the Olympic Games as probably our greatest Olympian.
I think if Ben Ainslie picked up the phone to pretty much any crew member in the world, they'd jump at the chance to sail with him.
Ben Ainslie has made a career out of sporting achievement, and when you see his focus, his determination and his talent close up, frankly, it's chilling. You can really understand why he's had so much success.
The focus of my career up until now has been the Olympic Games, with 5 games spanning over 20 years. But that's very much one chapter of my career closed, and now looking forward to the America's Cup, something which we've never won in this country, and I very much want to be a part of setting that straight.
Ainslie walked out of the Olympics and into the America's Cup world. He made an impression straight away.
It's the defender, Oracle Team USA, versus the challenger, Emirates Team New Zealand. The 34th America's Cup has begun.
The US have been beaten 3 times in succession by Emirates Team New Zealand.
We need to go back and regroup. We feel they've got a bit of an edge on us at the moment.
As Oracle Team USA walked down to the dock on day 4, tactician John Kostecki was out. Ben Ainslie was in. But he was being thrown in at the deep end, calling tactics for the first time in his America's Cup career. At first, the plan didn't seem to be working, but then the team found new harmony, new energy, more speed, inspired by the radical shake-up. Oracle Team USA started to turn the tables.
This is just astounding. Oracle Team USA gets the win.
The new confidence was obvious.
Fantastic tactics.
The pressure is mounting by the minute.
New Zealand almost capsized.
Oh my
gosh.
The Americans have the advantage with Sir Ben Ainslie as tactician.
The defender had done the unthinkable. From 8-1 down on the brink of defeat, the American team had produced the comeback of all comebacks. They won 7 straight and levelled the score. The destination of the 34th America's Cup would be decided by a winner-takes-all final race contest.
Guys, this is it. A little bit further.
And the Americans are out in front. The Stars and Stripes say it all. The comeback of 2013 is complete. America's Cup will stay in America.
Winning that event with a good group of guys was way more powerful than anything I've done as an individual. When you're successful with a group of people, you turn around and you share that experience, share that look that goes around that, yeah, we took something on, we achieved it. But I have to say, standing there on the podium lifting the cup, it did cross my mind that perhaps this would be much more fulfilling with a British team, and so that's the goal. The focus now is on bringing together a team that can win Britain the America's Cup.
It's about planning, campaigning, strategy and technology.
There's a huge history in British design and technology. Motorsports, for example, uses many of the same principles that we use. This cup has only been won once by a team that was a first entrant to the cup, and our goal was to be the second one.
This campaign is about righting a wrong. We have never won it. We have an amazing maritime history. This thing has to come home. We have to do that.
It's never easy, but it's about bringing together the right people who have built successful corporations, designed winning America's Cup boats, sailed on a winning America's Cup boat, brought the Olympics to Britain, and we have those people.
We're not backing this team, we're defining this team by the standards that we set for ourselves in our everyday lives.
With Ben at the helm, then you have somebody of extraordinary talent, great integrity, massive focus. Ben has one single objective: to win it and bring it back into British water.
I know what it takes to be successful. All of us are here to win the America's Cup, and we'll do absolutely whatever it takes to achieve that goal.
Please welcome to the stage the team principal and the skipper, Sir Ben Ainslie. Morning, nice to see you.
Thanks, Jake.
So we've just about forgiven you for winning it for the Americans.
I know.
How much of that is the driving force behind this, winning it now for Britain for the first time?
Absolutely. I mean, as we saw in the video, it's about righting a wrong, as Charles ably put it, and bringing the cup back to British waters for the first time ever. And we're all very passionate about doing that, and that's our goal now, moving forward.
Because I imagine there are easier ways of you being involved in the 35th America's Cup. You know, you are a sailor in demand. This is not the easiest way to go about doing it, is it?
It's probably not the easiest option, no. But it's the right option, and there's no hesitation in my mind with the support initially with Charles and Keith. We'd obviously been involved with the America's Cup before, and they were incredibly supportive of starting this team through the relationship with Oracle, and then on the success of that team, and you know, coming back to Britain and seeing the you know, inspiration there was there, the support for the America's Cup, and particularly for a British team, it was clear that we had to try and do this and move forward.
And for the non-sailors in the room who've just watched that lovely rousing video, they can be forgiven for sitting there and thinking, well, you know, what's all the fuss about? You get a boat and you put it on the water in 2017 and you go sailing. But the challenge to get there from here is huge, isn't it? Just give people in the room that don't necessarily know some kind of idea of what lies ahead for you.
Oh, it is a huge challenge, absolutely. There's no question about it. And certainly taking on someone, Larry Ellison and his team, that's a massive challenge. But you know, the way we approach it is by being smart, trying to be better in every area, and that the planning starts from the cup back. And we look at how we develop the boats, the testing boats. The design team is critical. We've been working very hard to bring the right talent together, and the sailing team as well, and that backed by a very strong management team and our group of investors who have been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we get those guys sat around the table. It's an incredibly impressive, powerful group of people, and we're very fortunate to have their support.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of those people, and the perfect person to introduce them is the chairman of Ben Ainslie Racing. Please put your hands together for Sir Charles Dunstan. Nice to see you. So give us an idea of how this works then. Who rings who?
Well, during the last Cup, when it, you know, that incredibly exciting racing was going on, I was texting Ben, but I was also texting Keith and sort of saying, finally there's a format which, you know, the public seems to absolutely love. Even people that I'd never talked about sailing, weren't really interested in sailing, became captivated by the Cup. We've got the world's greatest sailor. We've got a format which is very exciting. If this is ever going to happen, it's going to happen now, and it's our job. Come on, we should do it. We should try and do it. So, almost as he was sort of wiping the champagne off him, we were texting him saying, "Come on, we should do this."
Good on you. Now, as incredibly impressive as both of you are in your respective fields, just two of you is not going to get a boat on the water in 3 or 4 years' time. So, can you tell us a bit more about the team that you've got behind you at the moment, the kind of people that you're bringing together?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that makes the team really unique for an America's Cup team is Ben's team. Ben is the team principal. Ben is the largest shareholder in the team, and we've assembled a group of people that passionately want to support him and want to make it work, but fundamentally he's not a hard gun working for some very rich people. It is his team. This is what Ben is leading this and driving it. We've got a group of people that are passionately patriotic, passionate about sailing, and a group of people who like to win. And I think with Ben, they see someone with whom they can win, and that's really how we put everyone together. You can see the names up here, I guess you need the momentum. I guess the chicken and egg moment is we needed to get some people together. We needed to form a team before we could credibly stand here before you today to say, yes, we're going to do this. And you know, we've got the kernel of the team, the kernel of the funding now, and we can move forwards.
And as much as it's about being patriotic, this team, it actually all comes down to pounds as well. It's an expensive thing to go about doing. So where are you at in terms of funding this at the moment?
So I think we've got about 40% of the funding in place, which is really being done by private individuals. And now sort of after today, we're going to start talking to people that are interested in commercially sponsoring the team, other people that are interested in investing as a private investor. And I think the story, the fascination with the Cup, the new format, the fame of Ben, it's an incredibly attractive proposition. And if you can be the brand that brings the America's Cup back to Britain, I think it's a phenomenally powerful thing to be associated with.
Can you go beyond hero status? That's the question. Sir Charles Dunstan, everybody. Thanks, Charles. So, you know, it is quite crass to talk about money, but I think we kind of need to, because if you get the funding in place, then it's money that will allow your design team to really fly and design a boat capable of challenging Team Oracle.
Yeah, that's right. Our budget is around £80 million, which is a realistic budget to try and win. We don't just want to take part, we want to go out there, and our goal and determination is to win. So yeah, we need to bring together the right talent in terms of designers, which is absolutely critical. We've got a fantastic core team, and the same with the sailing team as well. So that's really, as we move forwards, building the team out from here.
Okay, well, let's meet a couple of men who are turning that dream and that money into the reality. Please welcome to the stage the Technical Director, Andy Claughton, and the Head of Design and Engineering, Dirk Kramers. Andy, all right, mate? Hi, Dirk. Just step forwards if you can for us, gentlemen. Thanks. So first of all, Andy, over to you. Just give us a little bit of a flavour about the team that you've put together, the kind of people involved in this.
Well, I'd just like to start off by thanking Ben and the investors for giving us a chance to get involved with another America's Cup. It's been a dream of mine since I graduated from university in Southampton a long time ago, and it's just fantastic. I'd like to say thank you very much. And in the design team, we're trying to bring together a blend of youth and experience. You've got experience rather overrepresented up here right now, but of course you can't win the America's Cup with old ideas, but you can easily lose it by making schoolboy errors. So again, youth and experience is the key. On the youth side, we've got a young British designer, Jason Kerr, who's been very successful in monohulls, and I think the techniques he's used to achieve that success will work well in the new foiling multi-hulls. Also, we've got Benjamin Mule, who's a Breton designer who worked with Emirates Team New Zealand. We're hoping he's got over that now. He seems to be rehabilitating okay. He's been very successful in designing not only in helping design the Emirates Team New Zealand boat, but also the C-class foiling catamarans, and one of his boats won the World Championship last year, so that's very important. Also, we've got Clay Oliver on the design team, who was one of the first designers ever to design a multi-hull that won the America's Cup, and that was way back for the K-Boat Challenge in New Zealand. So I'm just frantically looking down the list, trying to see who else we've missed. And the other guy that we need to mention is Rodrigo Asqueta, who's our computational guru. You're never going to get anywhere without somebody who can tell you whether the computer is telling you something useful or whether you should just ignore it. So it's a very varied team. It's multilingual. It's multinational, but from my point of view, fantastically strong. And I'll let Dirk say a few words. He's the man with the most experience, the most America's Cup wins, and really he's the man leading our engineering charge.
Yeah, despite only looking 21 and with that lovely suntan, you've got 3 decades of America's Cup under your belt. Actually, what's quite interesting is how much it's changed since you first started. What kind of challenge awaits the men on that television screen?
Well, it's a huge challenge, but yes, the design process has changed tremendously. It used to be a game of designing the best hull shape and the best mast sails and so on. But now it's really intertwined. Everything needs to match together. Something that's possible in one discipline would not be possible without technology in another discipline. So we're trying to put this group together, or we have put this group together with a bunch of old geezers like Andy and myself.
We can just give up on that now.
Combined with some young guys and new fresh ideas. And on top of that, Britain has a huge tradition when man and machine come together to participate in sports. Britain is on top. So we plan to use everything Britain has to offer to help us come up with the fastest possible boat and that can beat any boat out there
come 2017.
Good man.
And on top of that, we plan to do it in a responsible manner to our planet.
Great. It's the right way to do it. Dirk, Andy, thank you very much for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the talk there was of man and machine. They're responsible for the machine. You're one of the men responsible. When you want to put together, though, the best team on the planet to go and win the America's Cup, who's the first sailor you decided to call? I'm sure you've got a long list in your phone book.
Yeah, who are you going to call, moment?
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot of sailing talent. We know that through the Olympic campaigns and youth sailing in the UK. And there's also a lot of British talent out there involved with the last America's Cup, which is great to see. But the guy who, for me, was an absolute no-brainer to call was Jono Macbeth, who I sailed with now in 2 Cup campaigns with Team New Zealand for 2007 and then with Oracle for this last Cup. And Jono is a guy who just commands total respect across the sailing world and has a huge amount of integrity, and clearly will do a fantastic job with helping to run this team and specifically taking charge on the water.
And incredible biceps as well.
Yeah,
please welcome 3 times America Cup winner, Jono Macbeth, alongside David Carr. Good man. All right, David, nice to see you. So you were the first man he called. I'm sure that's quite an honour. What was the response? Did you have to think about it?
No, not at all, really. Like Ben said, I've been sailing with him for a couple of campaigns now, and you know, this will be my 6th America's Cup. And over the years, I've sailed with good skippers, some better than others, some great skippers. And really, when you are called up by your skipper, you're looking for a few things. You know, it's not just a good helmsman, it's not just a good leader, but it's someone who can also bring strategy into a team and really pick you all up when you need to find guidance. And without a word of a lie, Ben's that man.
Wonderful. And how did you personally come to be standing here at this Centre of Maritime Heritage talking about being involved in this next America's Cup Challenge?
Yeah, my entry into the America's Cup was not the usual path trodden by a lot of sailors. It happened back in 1996, the year after New Zealand won the America's Cup. I was working at a kayak store, and actually the day it probably all changed. I was attempting to lift a fridge all by myself, and I heard this big booming voice from behind me, you know, oh, would you like a hand? And I replied to that, yeah, I wouldn't mind one, mate, that'd be quite good. And I turned around, it was actually Sir Peter Blake, and he had come into the shop to buy a kayak from us. And you know, luckily enough, from there we grew a relationship, and he was able to get me a trial with Team New Zealand at the time, and you know, the rest is history.
It's worked out well, hasn't it? Amazing what you can find in a kayak hire shop, eh? David's already had a good day because the Duchess of Cambridge commented on his glasses and said she liked them. So that's
very happy with that.
You're already enjoying life then as part of Ben Ainslie Racing.
I can die a happy man. She said my glasses were a good look.
Excellent. Wouldn't argue with her. Just tell us what it's like for you as a British sailor to be part of a British team. And, you know, we can make the point again, a British team that have never managed to win the America's Cup.
Quite. So I got a phone call off Ben before Christmas, sort of saying, hey, Freddie, what are your plans for the next Cup? And I did have plans, but dropped them pretty quickly. And it's one of those things that in any sport, you want to do it at the highest level, and you want to sail or do that sport with the best people in the world. And I truly believe that Ben is the greatest sailor that's ever lived, and I believe he's a British sporting hero. So it's a great honour to sail with Ben and BAR. And yeah,
that's definitely worth a pay rise, Freddie. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Do you get that, Joe? Write that down. Brilliant. And yeah, it's going to be a superb couple of years, you know. And we all know Ben from sailing fins and collecting gold medals, but the real standout thing is he's a great leader as well. You know, he's always the first man to dip his hand into his pocket at the bar and buy the first round, so that's good for me. But in all seriousness, when you're sitting around the table with these great chaps you've got in the front row, and we're making big decisions already, you know, like the wheels have been rolling for a while, and just the reason that he brings to the whole room is very impressive. So we've obviously got Jono as well. He's competed in the last 5 America's Cup, winning 3 of them, and with our young British crew that were quite excitable. Jono's a good head of reason, and he's basically going to be that last 5%. You need to know how to win the Cup, and you don't know how to win the Cup unless you've done it. And these guys know how to do it. And obviously we've got all the really, really clever designers, which I don't understand what they're saying, but they're designing a very fast boat, which I'm happy about.
Great. Well, you know what? You're a privileged pair. I'm sure there are many jealous faces in this room who would love to be part of this challenge for 2017. All the very best of luck to you. Thank you very much for your time. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together one more time for Sir Ben Ainslie.
Thank you very much indeed, Jake. We're delighted to be able to announce today that we will be representing Yacht Squadron Racing, a club affiliated to the Royal Yacht Squadron, in this challenge for the America's Cup. It will be a true privilege for the team to represent this most historic of the British yacht clubs. It would mean that winning the Cup for Britain will bring it back to the very place where it all began 163 years ago. Now, while Ben Ainslie Racing's main goal is to win the America's Cup for Britain, the team also aims to showcase a sustainable business model, rethinking the way that we use resources. We're very pleased to announce a partnership with 11th Hour Racing Inc., a company focused on sustainable sailing. BAR will work with 11th Hour Racing to achieve this. This will mean encouraging staff and the supply chains to design out the waste and manage resources very efficiently. It would also mean redesigning the organizational process, working with universities, research institutions, and innovative companies to develop new technologies. The aim is to create a template for the wider and very important marine industry. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you.